This is the really interesting part. If you look at the chart here, this is our electricity going down. This is probably looks like a company that's going to go bankrupt eventually. I circled 3 6-month periods for comparison, and they're all the same 6 3-month periods year to year. You can see where I installed the 3 capacitors. That's what made me decide to install the 7 more. It wasn't the power factor. Let's go back a bit. It wasn't the power factor going up. Sorry. It wasn't the power factor going up that caused me that. It was the 3 capacitors dropped it 3 months sequentially. And I thought, well, that makes good sense. So we installed 7 more, and then it dropped tremendously. Now you're probably thinking, well, Paul, the last 6 to 8 months, business has been bad for everybody. Maybe your sales are just going down. The farthest right 6-month period, the sales are 28% higher than a year ago, the same period. We should be using about 45 to 50,000 kilowatts. Instead, we're using between 20 and 25,000. It's absolutely amazing. I did not expect this at all. This was one of the projects that really got me going into other projects. This was absolutely mind-boggling, that we could do the same amount of work with half the electricity. I don't know why the slides are goofy here, but we started measuring our sales per kilowatt 2 years ago. In other words, when we make a certain product, we'd say, you know what, this product takes 20 kilowatts to make. Now it takes 10 at our facility. We do more sales per kilowatt consumed than we did 2 years ago. In fact, we trademarked the term sales per kilowatt, and if you go on it, there's only about 200 references and 50 of them are ours on the internet, on Google. Our savings are $24,000 a year, just those 10 little boxes put on the machines. And in fact, Guelph was doing a project with Power Factor. Grimsby Hydro is doing a Power Factor. Our cost, you can't see it up there, our cost was about $11,200, paid for itself in half a year. The experts told us it would take over a year or 2. It paid for itself in half a year. From a business perspective, that's phenomenal. That really is obviously profitable. Now, just before you think that we just did all big stuff and all we cared about was lighting and so on, the projects we did even went down to the paper towels. I would go into the staff lunchroom, and I noticed paper towels were on the ground. People would wash their hands and throw the paper towel on the ground. I thought, this is driving me nuts. So I called a couple of colleagues, one of them at a regional government. I said, look, can you tell me which is worse for the environment, paper towels or hand dryers? And she didn't have an answer. I Googled it. 2 years ago, you couldn't find this information on the internet. Now you can. What I found out was that paper towels are 940% more harmful to the environment in terms of GHG emissions, and they cost more because you got to transport them to your facility, unload them, you got to dispense them, then you got to get rid of them, you got to do purchasing, you got to do invoicing. It's just horrible. Once you install a good hand dryer, we researched it, we got a really good hand dryer. People laugh when they come out of the bathroom for the first time. They go, oh my gosh, that thing's pushing the skin right off my hands. Our savings on this minor project is about $3,000 a year, $2,900 a year. It cost us $2,000 to implement it. But this second year, we haven't spent a penny. No maintenance on them. They haven't broken down. Now it's $2,900 pure profit. Didn't have to manage it. Didn't have to purchase paper, nothing. So this is the type of projects we did. We're doing on average 2 to 3 projects a month. We're about 45 now. Because the profit from the past projects keeps funding the new projects. It's absolutely exciting. Just a few other projects. I'm not going to go through them at all, but if you wanted to see a couple of them. One interesting one was, if you look at the fourth one down, remove 72 bulbs out of 88 in the office. When we moved in, we just gutted the place. We put in new office ceilings and so on, new lighting. And the employees complained that the lighting that was put in was way too bright. So we, in 4 different stages, we took out 58 light bulbs first, then another 16, another 8 or 9, and about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we took another few out, and still it's bright in our office. We actually have a lux meter. It's over 300 lux in the office, which is above what the Ministry of Labor requires. So it's still bright in our office, but we reduced our lighting a ridiculous amount, 72 bulbs. If you need any bulbs, we've got them. It'll take us years before we consume them. Again, it's hard to see this, but we invested in the last 2 years $46,000. That's basically 1% of our sales. Our annual savings are $91,000 a year. Did not expect this. Even now when we do new projects, I'm still skeptical and always surprised pleasantly. You can't see at the bottom here, but the average project paid for itself in about 6.3 months. That's, again, you won't read that anywhere. Very few people are advertising that going green is profitable. I really know it's true at our facility. As I mentioned, here's that dollar symbol again. Now our profit has gone up 76%. In fact, January, February, March, and April this year, when the economy is going sour, our sales went down 42%. We don't have control of our customers, but we broke even. We're within a few $1,000s of breaking even. That's phenomenal. For your sales to go down 42% and you didn't go bankrupt or you didn't go into huge red, that's amazing. This slide's a little too low, but we didn't know what our CO2 emissions would be like, and we actually had Sustainable Waterloo help us, and they got E3 Solutions from Cambridge to measure and audit our CO2 emissions. Our emissions are down 42% per square foot since 2 years ago, and per employee down 53%. That's in 2 years. That's again, we're on the gold. There's bronze, silver, and gold. We're on the gold. We're on our way to definitely hitting the 100% mark. Now, what does that mean in terms of CO2? That's equivalent to, let's say, about 11,000 trees. So a tree removes about 45 pounds of CO2 a year. That's how much CO2 we've removed from our facility in terms of how much we produce using electricity and natural gas. Just quick, some golden rules that we sort of have compiled. Number one, if you're going to start on this, number one, pick the lowest hanging fruits. Do the stuff that's easy and that gives you the biggest reward. For us, the disconnects on the bay doors, that was an easy one, a huge payback. Track your results. Definitely chart your results. Go back and say, where do we come from? What's our power factor been for the last 2 years? You'll find, for example, power factor gets usually worse in the summer because that's when air conditioning kicks in. Power factor gets better in the winter. That's number two. Wrestle your power factor over 90. That has a huge impact. It'll lower your electrical demands, and it'll also make you more efficient and lower your costs. Number three, an easy one. Replace the old lighting. Replace HID. Replace halogen. Number four, I always get the bills from Cambridge or Kitchener Hydro. I live in Kitchener, and it always says, install programmable thermostat. Until we did it, I didn't believe how much of an impact it would have. Number five, we have to reduce, reuse, recycle. We always talk about recycle, but I believe, from my experience, that reducing is the biggest thing you can do. Because if you reduce demand, then you're having a much larger impact than recycling. Because you're recycling, you're still producing plastic that ends up being recycled. And finally, you can't see it there, do it now. Don't wait. Don't do too much analysis. Some of these things you don't need to analyze. You know that changing the lighting to something that uses half electricity makes sense, and they'll save you money. And that you can't see the last bottom line is get a team together at your facility to be in charge of it. If you're smaller, get a person who's dedicated to it, preferably a volunteer. You want somebody not to do it because they've been coerced to do it. And if you can't get somebody to do it in your facility, get somebody from the outside to do it. Now, I haven't told you that we spent about 3,000 hours doing all this stuff. This is 3,000 hours of my time as a business owner researching it, Googling it. Google is the best tool here to figure out things. That I did not put in my cost of $46,000. That was my free time. But hopefully now you've come to see, as a business owner, and you've invested $46,000 in solutions. That's why I mentioned getting consultants to help you, so you don't have to go through the 3,000 hours we did. You can make it profitable, and you can be green. And that's it. Thank you very much. What's that?
Thanks, Paul. You truly are a leader in the community, and I like those dollar signs myself. All right, so continuing on with the final leg of the story. While developing the framework, we were also needed to secure funding. And so we did that through 6 founding partners. These are organizations that each contributed $10,000. And they include the Laurier CMA Center for Responsible Organizations, Virtual Causeway, Waterloo North Hydro, the City of Kitchener, Ernst & Young, and Manulife. And so I would like to invite up Bill Demers. He is from Ernst & Young, and he is part of our founding partner organization there. And we are thrilled to have Ernst & Young join us for environmental sustainability in this community.